A young boy arrives for school, but instead of taking a desk inside, he unfolds a burlap sack on the dirt floor. He sits among the other students' shoes, straining to hear the teacher's voice through the wood. In early 20th century India, this physical barrier was a requirement for the Mahar caste. As an untouchable, the boy was excluded by a systemic architecture designed to isolate him from every public resource. When the boy attempted to drink from a public well to quench his thirst, he was shoved away and beaten. In this social order, his physical touch was viewed as a source of pollution. Even when he could pay for a service, he was denied. One rickshaw driver threw the boy into the street mid-journey upon learning his caste, forcing the child to pull the heavy cart home himself as punishment. Bhim Ambedkar faced his social hierarchy that patrolled every well, classroom, and public road, enforcing a domestic form of isolation that predated colonial rule. To challenge this system, Ambedkar pursued the accumulation of massive academic leverage, supported by a scholarship from the Maharaja of Baroda. He left India for America, enrolling at Columbia University. In New York, he spent years studying the mechanics of political science, sociology, and economics. His studies then took him to the UK, where he earned law degrees and multiple doctorates at the London School of Economics. By his late 20s, he had acquired the highest academic credentials available in the Western world and was prepared to return to India to take a senior position in the government and military. Dr. Ambedkar returned to the Baroda state as a high-ranking military official. On paper, he possessed the degrees, the rank, and the legal authority to lead. However, his own subordinates refused to hand him files. Peons stood several feet away and tossed them onto his desk to avoid physical proximity. Despite his senior status, he remained forbidden from drinking from the communal office water pot. He had to bring his own water from home to survive the workday. The cost of this systemic exclusion was severe. Lacking access to adequate housing and medical facilities, Ambedkar lost his wife and 4 of his 5 children to illness and poverty. Academic achievement had failed to provide him with basic human dignity. It became clear that personal excellence could not dismantle the chains of the caste system. The system itself had to be broken. Ambedkar shifted his strategy from individual survival to the organization of collective resistance. He led the Mahad Satyagraha, where thousands of people marched to a segregated public tank to drink the water and entered a local temple, physically asserting their right to public space. He then took the fight to London, attending the Round Table conferences to represent the political interests of India's oppressed classes before British officials. This led to a direct confrontation with Mahatma Gandhi, who opposed separate electorates for lower castes, fearing it would permanently fracture the Hindu community. The conflict resulted in the Pune Pact. This agreement nearly doubled the political representation for the depressed classes, securing 148 reserved seats in the provincial legislatures. For Ambedkar, social protest was only a starting point. Lasting liberation required the hard leverage of legislative power. After India gained independence, Jawaharlal Nehru and Rajendra Prasad appointed Ambedkar as the nation's first law minister and chairman of the Constitution Drafting Committee. In the new constitution, he drafted Article 17, which formally abolished the practice of untouchability and made its enforcement a criminal offense. His earlier economic research also became a foundational element of the state. His doctoral thesis on the Indian currency served as the blueprint for the creation of the Reserve Bank of India. He later introduced the Hindu Code Bill, which sought to rewrite the laws of inheritance and marriage to provide economic and social rights for women. By codifying these protections, Ambedkar turned his individual legal expertise into a permanent framework that prohibited the same forms of exclusion he had experienced as a child. In his final years, Ambedkar sought a different kind of liberation. In 1956, he traveled to Nagpur to lead a massive conversion ceremony. He formally adopted Buddhism, choosing a philosophy that practiced equality and completely rejected the caste hierarchy. Dr. B.R. designed to exclude him, mastered its intellectual tools, and used them to rewrite the constitutional foundations of the world's largest democracy.